What is up, guys? We are finally back with this last draft that we're doing here. So I know that you guys have stuck around and watched two of the MLB drafts that we've done, two mock drafts. We've done them from different spots. So today, I think we're going with the eighth. Taco, are we going
That's
with the
correct.
eighth?
Our first draft we did from the fifth. Our second draft we did from the second. And in this position, we're going to take the eighth to give it just a little more context in the back half. Like you said, this will be our last mock draft that we're doing of this season. However, what I will be doing tomorrow is an exclusive for our Twitch subscribers. So go follow us on Twitch, the Daily Sporting at twitch.com. And we are going to do an exclusive live draft randomized with real people in it, real-time breakdown. I'm going to do that live for you guys tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Okay, and then on Sunday I'm gonna try to record two live drafts for you as well, where I'm gonna show you actually how I draft in a live situation, not versus computers. I'll show you, when I'm sitting there and they take a guy off the board that I'm looking for, so you guys really can get an idea of what's going on and how it works. But yeah, Dave, this is the last mock. After this, it's all going to be
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, we've given you some good options for depending on where you fall. So if you're really high on the draft, you got one that you can kind of go back and compare and look at. And now we really want to take a look at if not only if you're middle of the pack, but if you're a little bit below middle of the pack. I think that that's what this position at
sure.
the eighth spot might give you guys a little bit of an opportunity. So we're glad you're back. Thanks for checking us out, and let's get it going. What do you got here, Taco, with that first spot on the eighth pick?
All right.
I
So
mean, at this point, a lot of those top guys that we've discussed probably are off the board, right? I know that we were talking
yep.
about all those main top hitters and outfielders. So really, it's going to be interesting as to see. I mean, Trout's gone, right? Bellinger, all the guys we really discussed earlier. Betts is still on there, but who I'm really interested in hearing who you're going to go with first.
Well. See, I mean, I guess like this is really showing how much Mookie Betts is falling, because we took Mookie Betts as the when we did the fifth spot. I'm pretty sure that's who we took.
Right,
Mookie
right.
Betts was that guy, and now I'm looking at him here at 8, and I'm sitting back and I'm like, this is a really good deal for me. Looking down, Trey Turner is super interesting with 14 stolen bases and him being one of the top stolen base guys in a short season. But and DeGrom, like honestly, I was hoping that Garrett Cole would fall here. As I'm getting ready for my draft,
You would have picked a pitcher as your first pick.
I'm looking at getting the 12th pick or the 11th pick in a 12-team draft, and I'm hoping that I have Cole there. And Cole was taken before me at 8, so that's probably gonna have to change the way I'm thinking here. This puts me basically in a 2-person category race. I like Trey Turner because he's shortstop. He gets the stolen bases. I've category or spoke about how consistently the outfield position is a position that you can get later on that's really deep, and I like stolen bases. So I'm actually going to go with
Trey Turner,
the experts, and I'm going to take Trey Turner as my number 1 pick.
On the 8th spot, Trey Turner. Again, another person that most likely I probably wouldn't have drafted over Mookie Betts, but those are I just enjoy doing these mock drafts because these are the reasons why you can have these discussions and just give you a little bit of perspective as to why you might want to go with somebody like Trey Turner.
Yep. And Mookie Betts, don't get it twisted. He's a really great player.
Right. You can't go wrong, I feel like, on that pick.
Right. I just feel like that stolen base upside is so great. And then right here now, I'm in a great debate. Do I take Jose Ramirez on a comeback season who plays third base? Or do I take a JD Martinez, who we had talked about before, who's a great hitter and someone that I think that can really shine in a short season because of how good he is? And I'm actually going to take him here because I think he's safer. I think he's in a good Boston lineup. I think he's a safe pick. I think he's going to produce at a high level. And, I like Jose Ramirez, but last season he was kind of, up and down. And in a 60-game sprint, let me get the best hitter. I already got the stolen bases.
Nice.
Now, with this next pick, this gets interesting. I know you like Clayton Kershaw.
I do. I like Kershaw.
Oh, just on a positive, on not a positive note, but Austin Meadows has just tested positive for COVID-19, so he will be missing probably the beginning of the season. So he's automatically being dropped down.
Just
He's someone that I
lame.
really
Just
like.
lame.
Yep.
I hate keep hearing all these guys testing positive, and man, it's just interesting time, guys. Right? I mean, and especially I know we're trying to make a lot of light of a lot of things, and hopefully we do get we get baseball started in a couple of days here. But just sucks to see some of those guys go down on some of those COVID cases.
I absolutely agree, and it's going to make it for a really wild season where
100%.
Your pickups are going to matter more than they've ever did before.
I really think that I also want to have a nice little quick 5-10 minute discussion with you and you guys about not just MLB but MLB, NBA, and are these, because I know I saw this on ESPN and I was really interested in your opinion and maybe Ricky's opinion on, are these tainted seasons when it comes down to championships? I know Stephen A said no, but then Stephen A went on to say that if the lower tier teams win, they come out of nowhere and win, then they are tainted seasons. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. It's either a tainted season or it isn't. And they're like, well, what if LeBron comes down with COVID or Trout or any of the main guys? Then all of a sudden they're no longer a part of the squad that normally would be a part of the squad. I get that, but these games are being played, right? So if we're looking at it from that perspective, it shouldn't be. But we'll leave that, and we'll put that on the side. We'll bench that for someone down the road here before baseball starts, and we'll have that discussion. So stay tuned to that, guys. But yeah, so where are we going with the next pick here, Taco?
I'm gonna be honest with you. This is the toughest pick that I probably had in the of all the picks that I've probably made.
Okay.
The reason why is because there's no one off the board other than Gleyber Torres who screams at me like huge upside, can do huge things.
All I see is that X-Vision branding back there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There we go.
Little plug, X-Vision branding. You need any help and consulting.
Check it.
But
absolutely, check us out on there.
But I'm looking at Gleyber Torres. I know this is kind of this. I'm trying to find something for me not to take a homer pick here because I don't want it to seem like I'm going with the Yankees. Ozzie Albies is a great player, but when I just compare it out, Gleyber gives me shortstop and second flexibility. I know I already have a shortstop in Turner.
And we picked Rendon in the past drafts. We picked Rendon so high because of the position play. So, I mean, it would make sense to go with Torres or, Ozzie,
right.
Because of what we've said in the past.
Right. But here's the other thing then. Then I'm looking at Keston Hiura. I'm looking at Ketel Marte. There's 4 guys right here at second.
Isn't Keston a reach, though, over those guys?
Right now. But that's kind of why this is what I'm saying. This is
I see.
Because it's hard for me because normally I would be like, let's go Gleyber here. And then I'm like, well, then I'm kind of, getting Keston, who I'm targeting hard in a lot of my drafts.
So true. I mean, maybe Keston is not going to go in this. Yeah. Right.
And I'm gonna do something here that I've probably never done in any of my drafts, yet, and this is gonna be pretty ballsy to me, doing this because
go Kershaw. Yes, I know it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm.
You're gonna do it
because I really
listen, bro. Let's do it. Let's go Kershaw because I want to follow this one. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's go Kershaw. I know you're thinking about it.
I was gonna go Torres, but for the sake of this mock,
okay,
what it's gonna shake down, I'm gonna take Kershaw.
I'm looking forward to seeing this. This is gonna be my team that I want to look forward to.
With you. Oh my god! Damn
it! Listen. We've drafted hitter heavy in all the other drafts.
Albies is still there, of course, because Gleyber Torres is better than Ozzie Albies.
Hey, listen.
This happens in real drafts, though. Like
absolutely.
Next pick, come on.
You had your Stephen A moment. All right, we'll give it to you. You had your Stephen A moment on that one, but we've drafted hitter and position heavy in all the other drafts. I think that this gives a little bit of a real perspective of what happens if you draft a big top starting pitching that high. So you know.
See, now here it makes sense to go on Ozzy Albies, but at this point, if I've already waited for Hurria, I'm not going to jump him. Paddock is
That's
sexy,
what I was gonna say, Paddock.
but I don't want to miss this kid. I already skipped on everybody else.
You're gonna go with him over Ozzy?
Yes.
Wow.
And Ozzy went with the next pick.
I mean, yeah. Well, of course he did. He was top guy.
But I mean,
Heston would have probably been on the board still, if you ask me. I mean, I think he would have probably Heston. Yeah, he would have been on the board. Heston, I apologize.
He was roughly projected at pick 45. If Ozzy Albies went with the next pick, he would have been probably taken instead of Albies. Just because when I tell you this kid's upside is literally next year being in the top 20 players drafted, it's that high.
Oh,
and if you don't believe me, go check our Instagram. I've covered a lot of different things about him over the past year. He's someone that the page has been really, really, really high on, and I wouldn't let him slip in that situation because I got this guy coming back. Instead of getting Ozzy Albies, now I can take Chris Paddock, who I was going to probably take there. So that's why I take Hurria there, because now, boom, guess what? I got Paddock on the back end. And now I have a starting rotation of
that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid rotation right there.
This is the best rotation that we've had in any draft. But again, I want to show that, depending on where you are and depending what the board does, that's what you do. You can't go into a draft thinking I'm going to go hitters heavy and then I'm going to take closing pitchers early, because when you're in that position that I was in, there was 4 third basemen that I could have taken. And then what would I have been left with? I think that Hurria could put up numbers comparable to Albies and comparable to not Correa, but Torres. And those guys were right there when I took Kershaw. So when you look at it, it worked out better for the draft, even though I would have personally wanted to go Torres. But by getting Kershaw there, it set me up for Hurria. Then I came back with Paddock. And now, guess what? I can go anywhere. I'm not locked into needing pitching. I can reach on a hitter if I see someone that I like. So it did play out. It played out good for me in this scenario.
Who do you like?
This is an interesting pick. I'm probably gonna figure a way to target DJ LeMahieu with the next pick. So this way,
on this pick,
no, on the next pick.
Oh, I was gonna say LeMahieu is probably gonna go next.
ADP, yeah, he might. He might, but I feel like there's enough guys here where if I'm stuck with Mac Muncy or Jeff McNeil instead, I'm cool with it. I'm at the 8th pick, so that means from my pick here to my next pick is going to be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's 8 picks until my next pick. So it's not that far off.
Right.
So it's 2 ways to go. I look at the starters right here. All these starters have bad whips. I like Berrios. I think he's on a good team, but I don't believe in his ability to maintain good enough percentages. Looking at this right now, I know how big and how much they're going to use Hader. Mm-hmm. And this was a draft where I got 2 pitchers early. So because I invested that
draft. There you go. Nice. You got the value pick right there.
I wanted to go with him. And I think I just saw DJ go off the board.
Did he?
McNeil. Yep. See, it's just crazy. So Jeff McNeil is still here, who I'm very interested in. But at the end of the day, we do have a second baseman. Third base, I've consistently seen guys like Gio Urshela and Duhar fall. Since they're falling so far, on this one, I'm going to hold off on taking the third baseman. I've already established myself with some hitting, but I've invested heavy picks into pitching. What that means to me is right here, I'm going to snag another closer. I'm going to take Osuna. I'm building a pitching team right now.
Yeah, again, clearly, definitely.
The way the board goes is the way you should really dictate your lineups, and don't reach if you don't have to, or unless you're in love with the player. And look, at this point in time, I can see Eddie Rosario, who fits perfectly into this team, who in most cases I'm reaching for pitchers now. Now I'm looking at pitchers in every other draft that we've been in. I've had to look at pitchers, and not to get twisted. In the other drafts, it was 88, 89 rankings. So it's not like these are bad rankings we're getting with when I say I'm not left with them. But it just shows that there's so many different ways that you can build a team. So here I'm going to take Rosario. That's a no-brainer for me. He's great upside. Right now I have a pretty stacked outfield. Luis Robert.
I'm really wondering how you're gonna go on this next pick because I mean I feel like we're kind of pitcher heavy, not necessarily light on hitting, but just I'm just interested in seeing where you go here.
Yeah, I mean, at
This
this
is the
point,
104th overall, guys.
yep, 104th overall. This is our 9th player that we're going to draft. We already have 4 hitters, 4 pitchers. This is by far the most even draft we've done so far.
Right.
I do really like James Paxton. I really do like Carlos Carrasco. Let me just see here.
I feel like those guys would still be on the board on the next pick.
There's 8 picks left, and let me just see. Hold on one second. Do I have high drafted starting pitchers?
Tell people what you're doing here.
So right now, what I'm doing is, and you can do this in any draft format that you're at, I'm just sorting down to see what other starting pitchers are available. And when I'm able to do that, what I'm really looking at is to see who's left on the board that I like. So like when I look down here, I like Urias, I like Wheeler, I like Gallen, I like Luzardo, and then I like Paxton, I like Carrasco. I have 2 starting pitchers, I have 2 relief pitchers. At this point in the draft, when I look at these closers, none of these closers scream to me that I need to have them.
Yep.
So this really sets up an interesting dynamic. There's some good hitters on the board where I can fill out my roster. But like we've seen so far, we've been pitching heavy. And with that being said, I've invested so much into pitching that now I want to win pitching. I want to be one of the best pitching teams in the league. And with that said, I'm going to take the guy from the Yankees, so I think we'll get more wins than a lot of these other guys on the board, who's still a pretty solid pitcher, and James Paxton, just because I want to get that third starting pitcher that's solid. I want a chance to not be forced into having to take a guy that I might not like at a certain high point. Because now, see, look, I have Mike Moustakas, who's still here, who can play second base and third base and give me some flexibility down the road, or I can go with a closer if I see who's available. Let me just go back to suggestions over here. So starting wise, I don't like any of these starters. Let's see if we go back over here. Cheat sheet starters. I don't like any of these starters, but I like Luzardo right here, 36. I like Gallen. So now that's interesting to me because he won't be there if I miss. He might not be there. It's a risk
Right.
if I skip on him there. If you look at these closers, Jansen came down with it. Giles might be traded. Hand, we don't know what's going on in Cleveland. Diaz, we're expecting a rebound, hopefully. But none of these closers are safe. None of them are like someone that you're going to go into your season being like extremely happy that you have them. So at this point, I'm happy that I did go 2 closers early because now closers to me aren't worth it. It's not worth it for me to take one of these guys right here. It might be worth it for me to jump on Luzardo because I'm so heavy pitching. But let me just take a quick look at some of the hitters that are available. I mean, Mikey Moustakas is someone that is hold on, overview. Great venue, drop off from Milwaukee, playing second base.
Man, that mugshot.
Right?
He looks like he's going into the cage instead of the batting box.
See, he has a low average in comparison to a lot of the guys we have, but he's going to give you good power. And I like Cincinnati this year. And
I think that's a good pick then.
But I like Kevin Biggio. I just want to take one quick look here. Because see, these are the points at your draft where it creates major pivots like on the way that you draft going forward, on what you're looking for, and all these other things. And I just probably at this point in time, I mean, I like Justin Turner too. I think Justin Turner is someone that has a consistent upside,
Right.
See, and if I take Moustakas, I'm kind of boxing myself out of one of those guys. So I'm gonna just go with my boy Luzardo, just because. Like I said,
by the way, that means we've taken him in 2 out of 3 drafts on Luzardo, so we're pretty high on
super
on picking him. Yeah, so
high.
Okay.
Super high.
So let's see what that turns out. Turner looks like he went off the board on that last pick there.
Yeah.
So, really rounding out the team here. If we're looking at some position play, really interested in this 128th pick.
Yep. You see how this draft is completely different than all the other ones that we've done. I wanted to give you guys, like Dave was saying, we've gone so position player heavy in so many other drafts that I think it's great for you guys to see some of the pitching side and what you could do on the other side, which could produce a team that can score more, if not the same points as the other team. At this point in the draft, I like to go with upside.
Hmm.
I like to go with young guys that I think can prove it. I feel like we can wait a couple rounds and still nab some of these closers. Since we already have two, we're in a good spot. We have 4 starting pitchers, so we're in a good spot. This can definitely be a hitter. In the hitter's case, I'm going to look at outfield. We have speed on this team, so adding some more speed would definitely be pretty nice. But I'm taking David Dahl. I think David Dahl in Colorado is a great player. I think he has great upside. I think that we might be able to see. There goes Kevin Biggio, but look who's back on the board right there, Oscar Mercado. He's still there. He's still waiting, right?
That's right. Right.
Corey Seager, who plays third base. Miguel Sano, Gurian. See, now in third base though, we're in a bit of a pinch.
Yeah, we are.
I'm looking at third base. I'm like, oof, we
really missed a lot of players there on third.
But here's my fallback. Gio Urshela, Miguel Andujar. I talked about them before.
Yeah.
And in this kind of draft, I'm going for broke.
Yeah.
Going for broke.
So you going pitching here? No?
No, I'm gonna go with the guy that I almost took the last time.
Okay.
Because like I was saying before, those stolen bases. If I'm with 2 guys and the second guy's on my comeback, I'm just gonna take him again. See, he's just still there. It was just that was a position where it's like I just can't pass on him anymore.
Yeah.
So now we have 1 utility spot filled. We still need a third baseman and a first baseman. Oh God.
Encarnacion, we got Luke Voit.
See, now here's where you're going to see a Yankee homer really come out. Because to me, I believe that those guys are at value positions based on what the Yankees lineup is able to offer.
Yeah,
that they give you good upside in RBIs and runs. I believe that Voit has great power. I don't like any of these options right here. I think McCullers is someone that's interesting. Boyd has some good upside. Outfield, Kane. Buxton is someone that's always interesting. You still got Upton. So maybe taking Mercado there kind of hurt when you look at the outfielders that were still left on the board. Kingery is someone that's interesting to me. Dealing with COVID, he's still in his recovery. Oh, he still has some shortness of breath, but it appears he's likely. Honestly, this makes me a little bit iffy on Kingery. I like him. I think he has some good upside, but that kind of situation puts me at a pause. So basically what I would do right here is I would be safe. I'm going to be safe. And by being safe, wow, this is a reach. Okay. All right. So I guess I'm not going to be safe. Let me just see one thing here. All right, we're gonna take
Encarnacion.
I'm thinking Encarnacion is a play. I want a first baseman just to be, but I do like Buxy. Was carted off the field Monday. Was diagnosed with a sprained left foot. I'm playing. I ain't worried about that. I'll be here.
Listen, an injury is an injury is an injury.
Right.
So, I mean, I probably would go.
You're right.
You're
right. I went Buxton. I couldn't resist it.
Edwin went right after. Edwin went right after. So
of course he did, because it's a tough debate there. But to me, he's a post-hype sleeper. I went Trey Turner early with stolen bases. I know Buxton is a good speed demon. I want to make sure that I'm the number one.
But again, he sprained his ankle, and if we're talking about a speed,
his foot, he said he's ready for game 1.
Yeah, and he's probably going to be like, you could say you're ready. It's really when you start running, are you ready? And if you're stealing bags, you got. I mean, that was a dicey pick, if you ask me.
I mean, again, he's someone where his upside to me is just so like.
We'll see.
I mean, let's face it, Buxton has burned me many years, but eventually he's going to get it right.
That's how we draft now. Eventually, he's gonna get it right.
I mean, at once I'm in like the 150s and the 140s, I'm
Yeah.
going for an upside. If this guy can end up next year in the top 20, top 25 picks because he blows up, and I drafted him this year at 140, that's a great ROI because you know what? He would have put in work.
So
Right
just
here,
on a return on previous years is what it sounded like to me. That's just my thought, but okay.
I guess you'll be right in some instances and wrong in others. Wait, wait, wait.
So
Wait.
who do you like here? A pitcher?
Oh no! I'm not
Yeah,
wishing anymore. I'm taking my third baseman in Gio Urshela. Better safe than sorry at this point. You know, it's deep enough in that I can make that reach and not feel bad about it. At this point in the draft, if you see, there's still so many outfielders. Like outfielders, just that position. There's no first baseman, there's no catcher, but we do have backups. Looking at relief pitching, you know, St. Louis is such an interesting spot. We don't know who's going to be the closer. We know that Hicks has opted out because he's at risk because of the COVID situation in baseball with him having pre-existing conditions. So he's gotten a waiver. He's going to still keep his service time. He's still going to get paid. But because he's at risk, he's not going to be there. So that opens up the closer spot in St. Louis. We really don't know who's going to have it. Andrew Miller hasn't been great in a long time. I don't know if they're going to put Carlos Martinez back into the bullpen. It looks like they're trying to give him a starting position. If those two guys go the way I'm thinking they might go, that leaves Giovanni Gallegos as the closing pitcher for the Cardinals, and he's been pretty consistent. And he's had pretty good, K to walk ratios. So I'm going to take him here because we want to round out the pitching. I already had 4 starting pitchers and 3 closers. That gives me my or 2 closers. That gives me my third closer to try to give me a little bit more leverage as far as pitching is concerned. Right. At this point in the draft, I don't have a first baseman and I don't have a catcher. But who's right there? The guy that I was telling you guys about that I liked. Gonna take me some Lukey Voit. I mean, this is a risky way to draft. I'm not going to tell you guys no, but at the same point in time, it's all opportunity cost. And for me, I believe in the kid. I knew what I was doing at this point in time. I banked on 2 Yankees late that I know for a fact that, if they're not going to hit, I'm going to try to find somewhere else around it. I'm going to have a position guy that's going to back them up that, can kind of fill in the gap.
So who do you like? Here, we got what? How many spots? 2 spots left?
We have
2 spots
starting pitcher, 1 more starting catcher, and then a couple bench.
Right.
So here it's interesting. Closers are pretty much done now, so it's awesome that we got the third one right there because we only have 3 closers, but we have 3 closers from good teams. We have Milwaukee, Houston, and St. Louis. We have 4 pretty good starting pitchers. So overall in pitching, we're very solid. Offensively, I would probably like to get someone that could play first base just in case Voit doesn't really go great. I want something with somebody that gives me some flexibility. Kingery, like we saw before, he was having some issues, which kind of scares me. And you look at all these players that can play in the infield for Philly. It's like you don't know who's going to play where. You don't know how the time's going to be divvied out. I don't really want a timeshare guy. Yandy Diaz is someone that I really like. I think that, if you look at his stats, 2018, he had a really good season. He only played 39 games. Last year, he showed flashes of some power. I picked him off the wire. I used him for a little bit. He definitely had some upside. I almost want to take another starting pitcher because that'll probably be my last one. And that's what I'm probably going to do right here. Let me take one look at catcher. The one thing that ended up happening in all my drafts is I've gone no catcher. So that may be a position that I'm going to target heavier in in my real life drafts, to be honest with you. Just because I keep seeing it, I'm at the point where when you get deep enough in this, it's not worth it. So I'm gonna in the next draft try to figure out the best spot for a catcher. But here today, we're gonna definitely go with the starting pitcher. We're gonna go with another young guy that we've taken in a lot of the drafts. By a lot of people, this would be considered a reach. But I don't want him to be taken off the board, and that's Brandon McKay. I just believe in the kid's upside. He's a great prospect. This deep in the draft, I have enough pitchers where his upside is like, if he does what I think he can do, he's gonna like push me over the top. Right. If not drafting him this late, I can cut him and not really worry about like, oh my god, I cut such a guy. You got him late enough in the draft where the risk reward is worth it. They have Gene Sakura as a good player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what he said. What his notes say. I just want to take a look. He's not going to steal bases. Right. I agree. Like, that's the whole lure to a guy like this. Now, Yachty is sitting there. Yachty's oh.
Yeah, Votto.
Yeah, especially when we were talking about first base.
Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
Oh, they really got him really low.
Just want to take a look at the stats from last year. Whew. Last 2 years, he's been on a real decline.
He has.
And he's played a lot of games over those years, too. So that's something that kind of scares me. He gets his walks in, but he's definitely on his downside. Like, and it's clear by his numbers.
So who do you like as a? I don't know. I feel like I like Votto better than Murphy for sure.
I wouldn't say that.
It's just me.
See, Votto used to be a fucking.
He used to be a stud.
He used to be a stud.
He used to be a stud.
Like Hosmer. Hosmer used to be someone that you look at good potential, but. I mean, 284, 320, 326, 314. It could be in a shortened season a good run from him.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. I mean, at 36, short seasons are going to treat older guys well. I think that they're going to be rested. They're going to have all that pop, and they can, they can throw all those haymakers early and be okay. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And to me, with the way that's set up, it's almost like
I feel like the young guys are gonna. I mean, they're gonna do well too, but the older guys are probably gonna do. The experienced guys are gonna do extremely well, I think.
And I think because of the way first base looks, and there's a couple of guys that I'm kind of interested in. I'm going to make the play for my first catcher in any of these leagues. And I'm going to take Yachty here because I feel like I'll be able to get one of those first basemen on the next time. I don't have a catcher, and I think that provides me with the most flexibility and upside. See, like, look right here. Boom, all these guys are available. Howie Kendrick, news on time. Kendrick.
37 years old, Kendrick. He's been around.
Yeah, but look at what he did last year.
Whoa, that's nice.
Yeah, and he plays first base, and he plays first base, second base, and third base.
I would go
please.
Kendrick. Yeah.
Yes,
I would absolutely go Kendrick here.
Mm-hmm. Especially now that they have the DH over there.
Yep. Yeah, they've moved to the DH there, which is crazy. It's just interesting to see.
So Madrigal is one of the top prospects in baseball. He's a great speed player. But if we're seeing here that his role is so uncertain, he's not someone that I would waste a pick on right now. Looking at the way the team is stacked out, we have flexibility because we have first, second, and third base out of Kendrick, who can cover everyone there. I probably need to get someone that has some shortstop eligibility. So that's something that I would look at. Oh, it's Magic. Like Carter Cabay.
You can't come off on that like that and then not pick him.
I know, right?
I mean, really, seriously.
Like I still have to do my quick little peruse. I like to see who's available. I like to see what's going on. I like to draft informed. Usually, as a draft would be going on and players are coming off the board, I'll be using that time to analyze what positions are available, what guys I'm shooting at. I would have like about 5 to 6 guys that I would have lined up that I'm interested in. One thing that I'm going to be able to do tomorrow when we do the live Twitch stream, just check it out, guys. Remember, tomorrow, 11 a.m. on Twitch, I'm going to do a live draft for you guys where you can actually see real time as I'm drafting, kind of the thought process behind it, because you're on a time limit during a real draft. So you need to be lining up your picks before they even happen. So it's like I'll have 5 guys that I'm looking at and they'll take 4. Guess what? I'm left with 1. I'm going to take 1. In this scenario right here, for everything that we see, it's an interesting gambit. I would like a shortstop, like I said, Carter Kaboom. He has upside. He's probably going to be the everyday third baseman over there. This is what I said earlier before about Murphy and Votto. I took the safer pick in Kendrick. I took Brandon McKay, and these guys are still on the board, which is kind of why I said I'll sleep on that position at this point in time in the draft. But this kid is going to get third base eligibility. He is a great prospect. He doesn't really give you the speed, but he gives you the power. So I definitely couldn't pass on him. There goes Bottom. Boom, 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 baby. All right. So now what do we see here? Relief pitchers. There's some nice guys here that we like.
About Betances last time. Former Yankee.
Justin Upton is a guy that has great upside. Malik Smith is someone that could really fit in with this team when I play guys because of his stolen base.
Wow. I mean, he's definitely down on that board too. So I mean,
yeah,
no power.
Exactly, no power, low average, but his stolen bases would go good with having Turner and some of these other guys on there to balance out.
Yeah,
not going with as many speed guys throughout the draft. David Peralta is always someone. Participating camp. It's almost as if all signs showing that his 2018 production was a fluke turned out to be true. Damn. I liked Peralta. Peralta was someone that I definitely had high upside for.
What a statement like that.
I know. That was pretty like.
I know.
See, here it's interesting. I don't want to go too many on like bench hitters, but also at the same point in time, I don't have the quality of hitters that I had before, and I want to make sure that I have flexibility. So I think I might take another hitter here, but then that might be my last hitter. I have 2 guys that could play first. I got 2 guys that could play shortstop. Murphy, I get. It's really hard for me to pass Murphy here. So I'm going to take him.
Good pick.
I just, again, when I went so low with Voit, I need to make sure that I have a first baseman. And again, even though I'm a Yankee homer, I like to be safe, not sorry. So that's why I have 3 first basemen potentially on this team, just in case Voit doesn't produce the numbers that I'm expecting. Again, I went heavy with pitching early, so that means now some of my bats may be lacking. So I want to make sure I have coverage because I could always drop. Like, let's just say Voit is producing, and then Murphy's like or Howie Kendrick is then I can drop one and take another pitcher later on. But based on the way the draft is playing out, that's how I play, and then I would just wait and see with my approach. Pitching wise, I don't think I'm probably going to take another starter in this draft. But what I will probably do is I'll take some bullpen guys just to like level things out. And I think that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take Presley. He's a stud. He has all the talent in the world. He's pitching with Houston, so he might get some, outside shots at wins and saves. Especially we have the closer from Houston. So if the Houston closer gets hurt, this is probably the guy that's going to take the spot anyway. So you're covered, and it just makes a lot of sense in that situation. Here I don't know what they plan on doing with Evaldi. Last year they moved him into um wow, he's gonna be starting opening day. But like look at that.
Oh,
I don't know.
wow.
Yeah. Scott Olberg is interesting because, like I said, he's next in line for the role. I think that's a high projection for him based on what he did last year.
Right.
Just for reference, his last 2 years, 0.97 whip,
Nice.
1.13. But the 3 years before that, it was not as good. So obviously,
But I mean, he's clearly shown signs, right?
yep. And I think he has a potential to take that spot.
That's an
So
upside on a bench. I mean, on a bench position.
absolutely,
Would you take that?
especially with pick two being 272, it's hard to say no to that, and that's exactly where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take this guy because, like, even though Betances shows that he has better numbers, and that's also another position I feel like where we don't know what's gonna happen with the Mets.
Yeah.
Diaz is pegged to be the closer. They traded for him and they gave up a top prospect for him so that he could be the closer. But last year he did not put up closer numbers. So there's a possibility that Betances could end up taking the job. But I think there's a better possibility that Oberg's going to get the job just from
Right.
the fact that Wade Davis has been trash, like trash. And no offense to Wade Davis, he's playing in the major leagues. He's coming off an injury, but his numbers right now aren't what you would consider from a closer in baseball. Okay, this is the last pick in the draft right now. Okay, so there's a lot of lot of things that you can do. Cheat sheets. So let's see. This guy is supposed to be possibly back this year. Cole Hamels, Polanco, Gardner.
And Duhar still didn't even go.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm going to do just to be safe. I have 1, 2 bench hitters, 3 bench hitters. Might as well go with 4 because what I'll probably do is I will drop one of these hitters eventually and pick up a starting pitcher later on.
And let's see what that rating looks like. I mean, after that, so this is our lowest one so far.
But it's within 4 points of all of them. So
Yeah.
the top was 89. This is 85. Again, this went with a different philosophy because with the Kershaw pick, I was probably leaning toward taking the hitter. But we ended up going with Kershaw because we wanted to show you what pitching was like. And again, with the way I built this team, I'm building this team where not all these hitters are going to stay on this roster the whole time.
Right. I think a lot of that.
I want to see what they're going to do early, and then I'm going to drop them out late.
Especially in this type of season.
Yep. Because if Voit loses the job to Andujar, that's a free spot for me to pick up a pitcher that I see that's doing hot that I couldn't have predicted that was going to be hot coming into the season off the wire. So while this one was probably the lowest, it gives me the most flexibility. One of the things I don't like is that, I mean, pitching wise, this is probably the best pitching team in this league. Just because you got Paddock, you got Kershaw, you got Hader, you got Osuna, you got Luzardo, you got Gallegos. Like, you are deep in pitching in this, and then you have relievers at the end that are going to balance you out. So I honestly do think that this one is probably a little bit lower than it should be. But again, we went steals and pitching heavy in this one. But again, it just shows no matter how you draft, as long as you come with the philosophy behind it, you're going to be within this, B to A range. But you have to come with the philosophy. The philosophy I took here, I went pitching heavy, and then I took some hitters. If you just go alternating every other pick, I'll take the best hitter, I'll take the best pitcher, I'll take the best hitter, I'll take the best pitcher, that may not put you in a position where you're going to optimize your team. Because then guess what? When you take all the outfielders, now you're stuck at what you saw, which is why I take third baseman and first baseman, or not third baseman, second baseman, and shortstop so high. Is because when you look deeper on in the draft, once you get past those first couple guys, it's kind of like, we're taking Howie Kendrick and Carter Kaboom, who we hope can be good, but it's not the same. So, this was an interesting draft to kind of break down.
This was a lower spot, guys, too, at the end of the day. To be honest with you, that was really just to give you guys a little bit of a bottom start. Taco wanted to give you guys all scopes. I think we got, top heavy, middle of the road, and now really the bottom heavy teams.
And then another thing that we're gonna have with this is, like I was saying before, I have the 11th pick in my main draft, so I'm definitely gonna show you guys, what I do with the 11th pick in a real life draft. So when I draft, I'm drafting even lower than this, and I'll tell you, I'm not mad at it. I really do like the back half of the draft. I kind of like it even more than being 8. I feel like 8 is one of those bad positions you can be in. 6, 7, 8 kind of suck right now because you're kind of waiting for the guys to take 2 players before after you take your 1 each time. So it kind of sucks. I like being able to just go back to back with my guys. So if I'm between 3 guys, I can just take 2 right off the bat, and be good in the position that I'm at because I'm picking an 11. The only one that goes after me is 12. So if I have 3 guys on the board, he can only take 2. So, after I make my first pick, so pretty much when it comes down to my pick, I always have to have 4 to 5 guys available that I want. That's how I'm going to set up my draft when I'm drafting. I think that's a big thing that people don't do, which makes their draft come out worse. While the other players are taking players off the board, you need to be setting up the guys that you're targeting, what positions you're looking at. And like how I was doing before, like I'd look at third base and be like, I can maybe wait another round or 2. Let me grab this pitcher here because guess what? Those third basemen, it's a little bit of a reach. These pitchers, they're gonna be gone off the board if I don't take them. And let me sit there. There's like 3 or first baseman. First baseman, we were looking at Votto, we were looking at Murphy, and I had taken Voit late. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna take another pitcher here just because I think I can get these guys a little bit later. Those are things that you need to think about when you're drafting. I think those are the underrated things in a draft that really help you win the league. Is because if you know that you can bag a guy at third base like Gio Urshela super late, then yeah, you can kind of wait on third base and take some of the other players. But it depends on how you feel about these guys. I feel confident about starting Gio third base every day. I don't know why he's ranked that so low. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me.
And those are, again, that's why people may come here to take a look at some of those opportunities on some, some guys that have a lot of opportunity, right?
Yep.
So
and a guy like Daniel Murphy or Andujar, they could be cut in an instant. Like I don't have any like, I'm not beholden to them, but they also have good upside. They're players that, you know what? They probably have 30% shot, 20% shot of actually panning out and being a stud, a guy that I want to start. But you know what? It's a risk that late that, I'm definitely willing to take. But I think this was a good one. I like seeing different spots.
And from the perspective of where you were, I think you drafted, and like you said in the past, you took what the board gave you. So at the end of the day, I mean, there you have it, guys. Really, that's a top. That's really going to conclude our top 3 really mock drafts that we really wanted to do for you guys, so that you can take a look at every scope of the board. Yep. But I know, just to throw it back to you to finish that.
Yeah, and like we did differently in this one, and like Dave made a good mention of, which made a lot of sense. We went more pitching heavy, as we know. My philosophy is definitely going more hitting because I would load up on pitchers late. But going with a lineup like this is definitely not bad at all. If I was probably to do any redos, I would probably think about maybe not taking Turner. Just seeing the way the board shaked out.
But here's the thing: there's no mulligans. We're going based off of what you're right. Got right now. You know,
you're right. But what I'm saying is, like, if I was to redo this draft, or if it was a live draft now, based on what I learned from this one, I might not have taken Turner there, and I might have gone with a different player. And I probably at the Kershaw pick probably would have I would have stuck with him. Just because when you look at this pitching could definitely like sweep the board. We got closers, we got starters. We got good ERA and whip. So this is going to be really super fun. I like that tomorrow I'm going to go live with you guys. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm drafting in a real life draft. It's going to be a public league on Yahoo. It's going to be at 11 a.m. on Twitch. Make sure that you give us a like and a follow over on Twitch as well. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook, all under the same name, The Daily Sporting. We very much appreciate you being here for our mock drafts and everything that we've done. And I just want to thank everyone. And Dave, send us off right.
Yeah, no, man. We appreciate you guys checking us out. Honestly, these mock drafts have been extremely fun, but it gives you guys an opportunity to look at all scopes of your board and how you're going to draft, and really giving you an idea or an insight on some of those guys that are, some late bloomers, not necessarily late bloomers, but that are
Guys
going to
like
be
Carter Kaboom
estimated. Right.
and Jesus Lazardo, these young
Absolutely.
guys, David Dahl, Bryce Buxton, these young guys with high upside that you're going to get late in your draft.
There we go.
That could
That's
possibly
where
win.
I was going with it. That high upside. I think that you gave us a lot of insight on some of your high upside guys that might have been, really not even on anybody's radar from the standpoint of a regular, drafter. Some of the guys that are more experts might have those guys on their list, but somebody like myself, I probably would have really had those guys tailored off really towards the very tail end and probably not even got them. So really, there you have it, guys. That's our last mock draft from this standpoint. Definitely stay tuned. Come back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Don't miss that live draft. Taco's going to give you guys a little bit of an insight on what he's doing on his actual live draft. So come back and catch us then. We hope to catch you guys then tomorrow at 11.
Peace.
Take care. Later.